Do you know what I like to do when I have something on my mind? I like to look at some baseball cards. Hey guys, I want to do a little hobby talk. First, I just want to say this. It wasn't that long ago where the YouTube community was flooding us with titles like, "Is the hobby dying? Is the hobby dead?" I just heard PSA is backlogged and they raised their prices because they're so backlogged. So I think that's a clear indication the hobby isn't dying. Not yet anyway. And I've been watching these videos, and this is what sparked my thinking here. I've been watching these videos of all these high dollar sales of PSA 10s. And you're talking about, in many cases, cards that historically have been in the dollar box that in a 10 are selling for tens of thousands of dollars, or thousands of dollars. Maybe in some cases tens of thousands, but those aren't in a dollar box. So I'm watching all of these, and I enjoy hobby talks where people talk about their preferences, where they say why they like to grade, why they don't like to grade, why they're willing to pay up for a 10 or whatever. I enjoy those. And I wanted to share my thoughts. And these are just my thoughts. I'm not here to bash grading or to promote grading. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I don't care if you grade, if you don't grade. Doesn't affect me one bit. You do you. It's not, they're not my cards. It's not my money. I'm not you. I just wanted to share some thinking because I'm seeing these sales and they're just blowing my mind. And I'm trying to understand, and I want feedback. I want people to tell me, why there's this huge separation in price between a 9 and a 10, or a card that might be worth $10 raw that in a 10 would sell for $4,000 or something like that. Like, it just blows my mind. And as I'm watching these things, it's like, for me, like, I could care less about having 10s. And I was looking through some cards today, a few different sets, and it struck me. I don't enjoy looking at my 10s any more than I enjoy looking at my non-10s. Personally, I would never pay thousands of dollars more for a 10. First, and this is without a doubt, there's not even a question here, that no one could tell the difference between a 9 and a 10, including the grading companies. If they could, you would never be able to crack 9s and send and get 10s at the rate that I see people doing it. I've seen people crack 6s and get 9s. It's a subjective thing. Gem, mint, or mint. It's such a tiny difference, and it's subjective. If you could tell the difference between 9s, I see all kind of people that send their cards in, and they're like, "Oh, this is going to be a 10, this is going to be a 10, comes back an 8, comes back a 9, and they're shocked. But you can resubmit, get a higher grade. So nobody knows the difference, because the people who are sending those into Gem wouldn't be sending them in if they could tell the difference. They wouldn't be sending them in if they were going to get an 8 or even a 9 in some cases. So I'm looking through my cards, and I have this card in a 10, right? This Clemente, Milton Bradley. And then I, come to my Reggie Jackson. It's ungraded. Looks perfect to me. I hold them next to each other. I don't see a difference. I don't love this because of the number on it more than this. I look at my Pete Rose. It's in a, what's it in? A 9. Looks perfect to me. What's the difference? I don't enjoy one over the other. Here's an interesting set, the 64 Wheaties stamps. Here's a 10 of Joe Torre. I have a Clemente here, and it's a 2. There's nothing wrong with it. It looks beautiful. Now, when you have a card like this, it looks beautiful, and you don't see anything wrong with it, but there's numbers on it. Am I willing to pay? Now, I know that's not the case with this particular item, but there are cards like this. Would I be willing to pay $10,000 more just to have that 10 on there? Like, there are people that are. But for me, I don't understand why. Why would you pay $10,000 more when it looks fabulous? I mean, you know, some dude put that on there. I don't know. So, you know, my wife has a really nice diamond. Nothing outrageous, but a nice diamond. Really clear, like whitish, like really clear. You know, when I had friends that would get engaged and they would show their rings next to hers, they looked yellowish. Hers is really clear. No visible flaws. But if you take a loop, there's one little tiny thing. And you know, that's what separates her ring from an investment quality diamond. An investment quality diamond, you can't see a single flaw under a loop. Doesn't necessarily look better. But maybe, I don't know, let's just say you have a diamond and it's worth $10,000 with some tiny, tiny flaw, not seen by the eye, only under a loop, but you have to pay $100,000 if it's investment quality. And I have always just thought that what makes it so much more valuable, what's investment quality? And the bottom line is, it's just people's perceptions. That's all it is. If people are willing to believe that that's worth more, if they're willing to pay for that, then that's reality. You know? Perception can be reality. And that's all it is perceptions. I have a friend who deals in diamonds. And he has wonderful diamonds. Now, they make these fake diamonds now. They're not cubic zirconia. They're like a fabricated, they're made in a lab. And they're way cheaper than diamonds. And they look just like diamonds. And they're clear. And nobody can tell the difference. And a lot of young people now who are getting married are buying these because they're so cheap compared to having to pay up for a diamond that is just a perceived value. And he tells me that most people are buying these now. And he even recommends that you buy them because you can't tell the difference. And that's my point here. Why do people pay up if they can't tell the difference? You know, I got this years ago, like when I was young, this card here. And when grading first came out, I sent some cards in. And I sent this one in because it was so sharp and I just loved it. Now, it's not perfectly centered, so I knew it wasn't going to get a 10, but, you know, it's a Kellogg's card. And these are susceptible to cracking and all kind of little things. And I love it. And it looked, you know, perfect to me, other than a tad bit off-centered. And it's, you know, one of my favorite all-time football players, probably my favorite all-time running back. And it's just a beautiful card to me. So it comes back, and I remember being absolutely shocked as a 4. Should I love it less? Should I upgrade it? And let me put that in quotes, upgrade it. No, I kept it. I love the card. I love the look of it. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'm not looking at my cards under a loop. I have this Dennis Eckersley Hostess card in a 10. This is a rookie card. I have a John Candelaria rookie card in a 9. I can't tell them apart. They both look perfect to me. I can't tell them apart. I wouldn't love this more if it was in a 10. I wouldn't love this more or less if it was in a 9. I just don't get it. I mean, here's a Dave Parker that is not graded. Looks absolutely perfect to me. Should I love it less because somebody at PSA didn't give it a 10? You know, when I see all these 80s and 90s cards that were overproduced, and I know growing up how many people have unopened boxes and packs and factory sets and, sets right out of the box into a binder maybe, or into holders. I know how many are out there. And I understand that the PSA pop reports might be low now for 10s, but none of us were dumb enough to send our 80s cards in to get graded, or 90s. It would have cost us a ton of money, and they were literally dollar box cards for generations until now. So if that changes, now I understand they're not all going to get 10s. I get that. I totally get that. But certainly there are tens of thousands of 80s cards that are still sharp in packed fresh condition that have never been sent in for grading. I was laughing because this was on my mind, and I was going through some boxes and I stumbled on a whole stack of 1987 George Brett cards. I mean, there must have been 15 there, 10, 15, between 10 and 15 maybe. And I pulled out the two that I thought looked mint to me. And I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at them with a magnifying glass under a sharp light. They both look mint to me. Now, when I send them in, who knows? Maybe I get an 8, maybe I get a 9, maybe I get a 10. I don't know. But am I going to like them less? Are they not going to look mint to me if they come back a 6? No. They're beautiful cards. They're mint. They're mint. So I want to try to understand this because it's here. It seems to be here to stay. That, you're going to make that bank if you get the 10s. And who's buying these? I'm really fascinated by this. Like, it truly fascinates me. And I would love your input. Because I am to the point when I see the kind of money that these 10s are selling for could be life-changing for some people. If you have 20, 30, 40 of them, if you can do that. I'm to the point where, I'm thinking of getting my factory sets and unopened stuff and the sets I put together right out of the packs. And, hey, maybe I should give it a shot. Well, there's a lot of money to be made. I know there are people I know who are doing this. They're selling their 10s and buying 9s, and they're making a killing. So that's just what was on my mind. I welcome your thoughts. Maybe you can help me understand. Maybe I'm just old and don't know anything. Thanks for hanging out with me. I gots to go.